Yugi Bros!
What's up, my Yugi Bros? Today we got another duel video for you guys, featuring Heavy Metal Raider Machine Deck versus the Warrior Blade Turbo, or whatever you want to call it, deck. Unfortunately, because we're still doing the regular mode here, it has to be the 5-zone. We can't bring the new cards into the Speed Duel section yet on Dueling Book, unfortunately. So, a little bit of preface here. We gotta stack the last card, put our life points down to 4,000. The machine deck's actually gotta stack another card because of the skill spell. We're using as link monsters to get them out of the deck, so we don't have to shuffle the actual deck. So it's Heavy Metal Raiders on one side, and we're sticking with Hidden Parasite. We feel this card's still really good. Something in like this deck where you're just playing a bunch of beat sticks, you need to blow away. The only time you're gonna have a problem is if your opponent outplays your monsters, so to speak, like out attack points them or whatever. So we have our two auto swipes of the field, if you will. So machine starts one less. They actually opted to go first. They set one card and they pass. So we draw, and we have our aerosol. So this is our dark hole of the deck. But other than that, we're just gonna beat face with a bunch of warrior monsters and hopefully set on some traps. We got some dust tornadoes and stuff to deal with that. Also, big thing, I really love what Heavy Metal Raiders can do for machine decks and speed duels. I really hate, however, that it's a card in play versus a skill outside of the game. Like, for example, Hidden Parasite stays outside the game. You can change everything to insects twice per duel. But your opponent can never, like, at any point in time, MST this or get rid of it anyway. Whereas this has that problem. And you also are drawing one fewer cards to start the game. I just think that's kind of bogus for something like this. It gives it a lot. I understand that the card has a lot of effects versus something like Parasite, which is very simple but very effective. This has a lot of effective effects, but you're already starting the game with one less card. You might as well just keep this outside the game because it's as easy as Dust Tornado to just knock it out to give you complete advantage over the deck. So we're going to summon Don Zalug, we're going to set Dust Tornado, and we're going to go into battle phase here, and we're going to swing. And because it's this mode, it thinks this is a monster, so we fix that right there. So they have a Dust Tornado, they can't do anything with that, so they're going to take the 24, and we use the discard effect and force them to discard this. Now, I like this a lot, Stone Excavation, as a way to get this back instead of playing Magician of Faith. Magician of Faith is really slow. You want to dedicate your normal summons to your monsters, your dark machines. Discarding 2, however, is a big cost, so there's some give and take. But opening hand, that card is terrible. Unfortunately, the build we're messing with only played 1, because we don't want to play more than 1 of this card. I feel like you just brick really hard with it otherwise. Unfortunately, we bricked really hard with it here too. We didn't open a monster. It was Bashing Shield, Dust Tornado, and Stone Excavation. So we'll pitch the Stone Excavation, keep the Bashing Shield for when we draw a monster. And so they drew Dekoichi, and they're gonna normal summon Dekoichi rather than set it, because they know if we summon another monster next turn, yes, this will protect it by battle once, but not the second time. The draw is good, but a little too late at this point, which is why, again, I'm surprised this deck didn't go second to try to utilize getting that extra card faster. But I get it. If you open this and you set it, and your opponent's not gonna be able to swing over it with one monster, so I see what they're doing here. But they have the Dust Tornado for our back row. They're going to put Bashing Shield on Dekoichi, and they're going to go into battle phase. They're going to swing in here against Zalug for 1,000, and we can't stop it. Dust Tornadoing this isn't going to do anything, so we just let it go. We do an end phase Dust Tornado. I think our thought process was we were going to hit this, not knowing what this was, but then thinking more about it, we were like, well, this is actually the more problematic card, so we just go ahead and get rid of Raiders. We draw Skill Successor, and this is a new card. It says you target a face-up monster on the field, it gains 400 attack until the end of the turn, and during your turn, except the turn this was sent to the graveyard, has to be your, don't forget. You can banish this card from your grave, then target one face-up monster you control, and that target gains 800 attack until the end of the turn. I think in a video where I talked about this briefly, I said because it's a trap you can activate on either player's turn in the grave, which would be true had this line not been here during your turn, except this turn, the turn it was sent to the graveyard. So unfortunately, you can only use it on your turn as an extra buff, but nonetheless, still an extra buff, still a nice card, still cool in this. I took out Kunai. We'll see if that ends up being relevant or not later on. But what I do like is that you can just buff your monster for the turn if they do pop this before the battle phase, and still damage steppable. So that's pretty cool too, especially if it's in your grave, your opponent can forget about it. So we're going to go and use Hidden Parasite's effect here. We're going to blow that Dekoichi right off the ball. We're going to summon Blade Knight and set skill successor, and then we're going to swing in for 2,000, but we actually only do 1,000. However, we didn't pay attention to that going into the duel. Easily the number one thing I forget the most is that this halves the damage that you do. But Machines is already in a bad enough situation here where we're not gonna lie to you, it would have been game anyway. They drew the Iron Draw, and that's not gonna do anything. So keep in mind, Allure of Darkness does now exist, so we can play Allure. We are playing Allure. We are playing one Iron Draw, however, as well, because we don't want to banish too many options. So, yeah, going into game 2. I really like the mobility that has been given to both of these decks through the new support. Here, hold on, we gotta fix the life points here. But I still think Machines just suffers too much from the fact that their field spell is live on board and is easily disruptible, destroyable, you name it. Unfortunately, if that wasn't a thing, I think that deck would just be a lot better. So we're going to start with Command Knight. They opted to go second here. We're going to start with Command Knight in defense mode. It's 19 defense. We're actually going to set all three. We're getting a little cocky here, but if they had sided in something to like blow up multiple back row or a Dice Foon and change their skill, then obviously we would have seen, but they started with this, so we know they're not going to start too strong like that. So they draw for turn. They're going to set a monster. It's Dekoichi. The rest of the hand is Sphere Karibo, Barrel Dragon, and Blast Sphere. We opted to still play Sphere because it's a dark monster, and with the allures in the deck, it allows it so you can draw that, you can banish this and keep your actual plays, or vice versa. But also, if you keep it in your hand, and they try to swing in with one monster, and nothing happens, and that monster gains the attack, and then the bigger monster swings to try to kill it, we have the Sphere to screw that play up for them. So it's a really nice disruption tactic. They're going to set Dekoichi and pass. We draw. We drew Dust Tornado. We have another Dust Tornado for the field spell. Of course, unfortunately, I'm sorry in this video, it's sad because you don't get to see what Raiders can really do. But competitively, people are still going to play Dust Tornado. If they're not playing Dust Tornado, they're still playing some other form of spell and trap disruption. So, unfortunately, this just doesn't really get to see itself shine. I'll make another video where maybe the opponent doesn't main deck, or I don't main deck Dust Tornado or an easy out to this card, so you get to see what this card can do. But I want to keep this channel up to date on competitive, because if not, like, you follow this video, you'd be like, oh, this card's insane, and then your opponent goes and pops it, and then you realize how fast the deck crumbles. I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. So I'm gonna flip Command Knight, set another Dust Tornado, and swing it into the monster. And it's Dekoichi, so they get to draw a card, but nothing. They don't get anything out of it. They did draw another Dekoichi, so we pass. I don't know why we went to main phase 2. They're going to normal summon Dekoichi because they drew Offerings to the Doomed. Now, what's nice about this is that it's just free spot removal. It does target, so beware about that against something non-targetable. But you do skip your next draw phase, so it can be relevant, but it also can hurt if you need that draw really badly. What's nice about this deck is that we play Allure, we play Iron Draw, and we have Dekoichi. We have a lot of ways to draw cards, so hopefully one Offerings to the Doomed shouldn't hinder it too much. Because of the normal Dekoichi, we don't fear anything. We have the floodgates, but we figure it's might as well not flip this face down and then have it get swung into and flipped later. So we're like, sure, let it go. And then the Offerings to the Doomed. And that hurts, because we don't have a follow-up play, at least right now. But we are playing a bunch of warriors, so we should be fine. But that does render all of our back row useless against this one Dekoichi. So we are stuck taking the 1400. We're leaving this here as a way to remind ourselves we don't draw for the following turn. And that be that. So, going to main phase 1, we top deck Blade Knight. This thing is 2000 attack because of the 1 or less cards in hand. And all of a sudden we're on top of the world if we can learn how to attack the monster. But they Sphere Karibo. See where this is relevant. So our monster goes to defense. Offering says we can't draw. They normal summon Blast Sphere. Gutsy here. I don't know if that's actually the right play. I get that you want to kind of swing in. If you assume this is going to swing, this is going to go in, and you're going to be able to get through it, then I get what you're doing here. We are, again, also are not going to floodgate it because we would rather it not be face down when we attack it. We're kind of just going to chance to go off the chance here. But I'm not sure I would have actually normal summoned it. Yes, I get the whole fact of you're going to try to go in for game. This one Dekoichi's going to swing in, or Blast Sphere, and then the other one's going to swing in for 14. We're going to go down to 12. Cool. But if you had kept that face down, and, you know, either I forgot or didn't pay attention to it, we didn't see Blast Sphere game 1. I don't think we were maining it in this particular build. I think we're maining Jalago instead. And I just casually swung into it and forgot about if I didn't have the Dust Tornado. I don't know. It's very pick and choosy. But anyways, Dekoichi swings in, Sphere swings in for 14, and we go to 12. Now we're forced to draw a monster, or else we lose. Or that. We use its skill. We turn everything into insects. We unfortunately are forced to Dust Tornado one of our back row, which is where it gets dicey. Because we maxed ourselves out. I guess we, got a little cocky on that, or we just were a little too conservative with the floodgates. So now it's going to cost us. But this is how we're going to get our Dark Hole on the field and get rid of their monsters. So now they're just stuck on this Barrel Dragon in hand. I don't know that, but they know that. So, they're going to draw, and they got Jalago. This is big. This is where we're going to use our Floodgate. Flip that face down. This card is cool. The only cards your opponent controls are face-up monsters with 1600 or more attack. This card can attack directly. That's big, but it's also a Dark Machine. Go figure. For this deck that relishes on Dark Machine monsters. So it's the first quote-unquote beat stick this deck has gotten, besides Barrel Dragon. I guess it's the first non-tributable beat stick monster this deck has gotten. So we have to top deck a monster in order to survive. And we do. We get Command Knight. So we'll normal command, go into battle phase, and swing over Jalago. And they didn't have the sphere. Best part. So they draw, they get the Floodgate Trap Hole. You're going to have to set that and pray to God. Upside is they have 4,000 life points, so even if we do hit another monster, they can just Floodgate it. We draw Dust Tornado. So we'll set and have Command Knight swing in for a nice 1,600. They draw. They get a Dust Tornado. Looks like game 2 might actually be going to us after all. We draw into Blade Knight. Now, we don't know about the Floodgate or the Dust Tornado. We're going to YOLO Dust Tornado here. Hit their face down Dust Tornado. We think we're good to go into battle phase. But we actually didn't give them enough chance. And they flip Floodgate and flip our Blade Knight face down. Interesting turn of events, but we still have the high ground, so to speak. Putting them down to 800 and we'll pass. They'll draw, and they get another Jalago. There's another Jalago. Yeah, okay. They get another Jalago. They're going to normal summon it. They're going to go to battle phase, and they're going to attack directly, except they can't, because I have a face-down monster. The way Jalago reads, the only cards your opponent controls are face-up monsters. Only if the cards your opponent controls are face-up monsters with 1,600 more attack. We have a face-down monster. I need to double-check this ruling, but as far as we know, and as far as we made it for this match, that means we cannot. They cannot attack directly because we have a face-down monster. So, instead, They attack our Blade Knight. And they pass. And we draw Skill Successor. This is really good. So now, if they attack into this, Damage Step will flip Skill Successor on this. They'll take 400, their monster will be destroyed, and then it'll be all but over. So we'll set, we'll keep Command Knight in attack mode, and we'll pass. And they draw Bashing Shield. Go figure. This is going to get them over Command Knight, which is a pain. Now it's 2600 Jalago. And they're going to swing into Command Knight. Now, we could just let it go. We would take 1,000, putting ourselves at 200, and keep this for a future monster. But at 2,600, anything we summon probably won't be enough. If we get Blade Knight with this, it'll be 24. It won't be enough. If we get this with this, it won't be enough. It'll only be 2,000. If we have a third monster, we have yet to reveal in this deck. We'll show it soon, though. But with this, it also still wouldn't be enough to get over this thing. So we figure let's lessen the blow so that it's in our graveyard, because you can't use it the same turn it's sent to the graveyard. So that if we top deck a warrior that can work with the 800 boost, instead we can get over Jalago. And there's only two monsters. We either can only draw Blade Knight, or we can draw our other new monster that we're playing in this deck. And we draw that monster, Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight. You can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is normal summoned without tributing, its original attack becomes 1900. If it's tributed, you can add a Blacklisted Soldier monster from your deck to your hand. We don't care about that effect. The whole point is this is a 1900 beat stick in Speed Duels with really no downside. It comes out at 19 instead of its 23 if you normal summon it. But its defense is also 21, so worst case scenario, they switch to defense with the myriad of different plays that switch things to defense mode. It's still 21 defense to deal with. So, we normal summon it, and go figure, this will work with Skill Successor. So, we'll swing, and Damage Step, we'll banish Skill Successor. We waited, by the way, until Damage Step, because if they did have Sphere Karibo, we wanted to make it so that if they had forgotten about our Skill Successor engrave, they don't Sphere Karibo there. That way we dodge Sphere Karibo because it only works when you declare an attack. And then we use Skill Successor. So this pumps this up to 27,800 plus 19. And it's conveniently 100 stronger than Jalago. They won't take damage, however, because of Bashing Shield, but that's fine. And all of a sudden, Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight seems to be the end-all be-all. And they draw Sphere Karibo. So they're still in it, unless we draw a monster here. And we don't. We do draw Offerings to the Doomed. So we're going to set that face down. We're going to try to swing for game. And they're going to activate their Sphere. But we still have the high ground. All they have to do is draw something that doesn't work in this situation. And they draw Floodgate, which is the perfect card that doesn't work in this situation. They're going to set it to try to bluff us. Might as well at this point. It is game 2. We draw our Floodgate. We'll set that. We'll switch Gaia back to attack mode, and we will swing for what should be... Yes, it's game. Dead Barrel Dragon is dead. Unfortunately, this card being in graveyard makes this deck so much worse. And I feel bad, again, like I said. But Warriors seem just as strong as ever. Deck seems really good. Definitely... This card definitely gives it a boost, being 3 more monsters with big-ass attack points, and as well as your Blade Knight to deal with opposing threats. And I'd still use Hidden Parasite, but of course we're messing around with other cards. Switcheroo is still a big option going forward, so, you know, we'll see what we can do. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Leave a comment down in the comment section down below. Please comment, like, and subscribe. As always, click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates. Let me know what you thought about this video, and also let me know about any of your thoughts or cards that you would choose to play with the new stuff going into next format. Alright? Yugi Bros out.